Hey everyone, it's Sydney. Welcome to my reading log for October of 2024. What I read in September of 2024, releasing in October of 2024. I never know how to format these things perfectly with that wording. Regardless, I got through a decent amount of stuff this month. Ended up with an okay backlog of stuff that I got that I didn't read. But I did work through that decently well the following month, like into October. So that's good. First, I'm going to be starting off with what I've read from Viz, starting with Shonen Jump, then Shonen Sunday, then Shoujo Beat. Starting with Chainsaw Man, Volume 16. Let me see if the back actually has any spoilers on it. Here, I'll just cover the dialogue and have the picture shown, because Chainsaw Man's full of ridiculous plot twists and insane spoilers. I really like this volume. I love Chainsaw Man in general. Great Halloween read too. Even if I did read it last month, unfortunately, which is before the Halloween season started, but it's always Halloween. Great volume though. The ending was a good cliffhanger. Then we've got Dark Gathering, Volume 9, and I believe in this volume we're continuing a arc for trying to save somebody. I'm being intentionally vague on that just so I don't spoil anything. The story's gotten really interesting with a lot of these different pieces in play, a lot of these different characters interacting with each other, having these new ghosts introduced, or new spirits, I think they call them. It's a really enjoyable read. It's gotten a lot more horror focused in the later volumes. It used to seem a lot less horror-y, but the designs have gotten pretty creepy so far. Then we've got Mashal Volume 17. We are one volume away from finishing this series. Not really worth showing the back, there's just text on there. Good series. Excited to see how it wraps up. I kind of wished it stayed less like super action focused and kept more to the comedy bit and the school life bit, but I think it's still a good series and it's definitely worth reading. Hopefully it gets another season with the anime. It seems popular enough to warrant. I think the first season was 2 cours, so I guess the second season, something like that. Then we've got Mission Yozakura Family, Volume 12. And of course we've got the cute picture of Goliath on the back, as always. Wrapping up, let's see what happens in this one. I think we actually had like some small mini arcs in this volume. Let's see. I'm trying to check the table of contents to see if I remember more specifics. We had a lot of big plot developments in this volume, so I can't really talk about those too much. But we had a couple like filler chapters with different characters and different powers, and different hijinks that characters get up to. I enjoy Mission Yozakura Family. I'm not in love with it. I want to watch the anime more, but unfortunately it's on one of the more obscure streaming services. I think it's on like HBO or something, or Hulu. Something like that. And I normally only have Crunchyroll set up for my main watching purposes. Then we've got My Hero Academia Team Up Missions, Volume 5. Probably my favorite My Hero spinoff so far, but I haven't really read most of Vigilantes. There's not really any like story spoilers for this volume either. It's just literally, as the title says, Team Up Missions. It's a little more comedy focused, not as off-the-wall comedy as Smash, but it's a good read if you like My Hero. That one's still ongoing even after My Hero ended. Then we've got Sakamoto Days, Volume 13. Let's see. Yes, we have setting up the next big arc for Sakamoto Days in this volume. We did wrap up that school arc, I think last volume, or the volume before that, and now we are in what I believe is like it's an extended flashback, talking about Sakamoto's past when he was back in school, and why he ended up leaving the school. Then we've got Frieren, Volume 11. Major spoilers on the back of this one, so I'll just show the picture. This is also the end of a big arc that happened. I don't know where the plot's going to go after this. I mean, it's going to continue on her journey to get to the destination of that specific land where she wants to visit the graves. Still a great series. Definitely recommend it. Of course, probably shouldn't overhype things too much because that can make things not live up to expectations, but definitely give it a shot if you're at least somewhat interested. Then we've got Helk Volume 11. A lot happened in this volume. Huge fight into Revelation, into, I think, one final huge fight, and we are almost done with that fight. And we've got one volume left till we're finished with Helk, so it's going to be wrapping up everything in that volume, hopefully. And then we've got Mao Volume 18. What do we have happen in this volume? Yes, we had a village full of human sacrifices, people making human sacrifices to fix something going wrong, like basically like the typical reason people would make sacrifices, crops not doing well, that sort of thing. We also had the conflict between the two curse sisters coming to a head, the two people who used the curse needles, almost ending very tragically. Still very good, fun series, quick read. Then we've got Like a Butterfly, Volume 8. We are continuing to fully develop Suiren and Kawasumi's relationship, but there's definitely still some hesitance on Kawasumi's part. I think he's still having a hard time opening up to the idea of committing fully to the relationship. It kind of makes sense with how their characters are written so far. It's an enjoyable shoujo romance. Nothing extremely great, but good so far. Then next we have Sakurasaku Volume 4. I don't really remember too many things about this volume, if I'm being frank. I think we're actually starting to get oh yeah, we do have a cheating scandal with one of the friend groups, or one of the friends and their partner, and that causes a lot of drama in this volume. But we also have the main relationship seeming to start developing, which is good. We're 4 volumes in, so it's probably good to start getting more development on that currently. I will say, I've said this every time with Io Sakisaka's covers, I do think, for one thing, I think her art is beautiful. I just can never get over the lips. They, for some reason, just never sit right with me. And I wonder if I'm the only one who thinks that. It feels a bit rude to say, considering how great of an artist she is, but the lips are always just so odd to me. Then we've got Chojin X number 7, going on I keep either saying a new arc or ending of an arc, but this is, again, kind of starting a new arc with trying to find a way to take down this great enemy. I'm being intentionally obscure here, so I don't spoil too much of the plot. We do have a Chojin that's on the cover right here who has a very interesting power involving something akin to zombies, so that's really cool to read about. Yeah, I'm liking Chojin X more now. Just hated that death fake out, kind of ruined it for me for a while. Also, he's here because it's Halloween month, so we're just going to have some spoopy guy chilling in this video. Then we've got Full Night Volume 2. I really like this series. It's very artistic and pretty, with a lot of unique renderings of the different plant life, the different way the human-plant hybrids work. We have a serial killer popping up in this volume, which is really cool. I'm not sure if that's going to be something that continues on for the rest of the series, or if it's going to be resolved quickly. Very interesting read, though. I definitely hope more people are going to give it a shot. Then we've got a very light-hearted read after that with Hiroyasumi 2. We have not really a lot going on in this series. It's very slice of life. It seems to be just kind of developing a friendly question mark relationship between the main character and somebody he met at the fishing hole, who is now reoccurring in his daily life. And we get to learn more about her background. This is a good series. It's just not a lot of super dramatic or intense things that happen in it. For the opposite of that, we have Last Quarter, Volume 1 by Aizawa. This series kind of starts off a little interestingly. The first couple chapters, minor spoilers for the first volume because it's only the first few chapters that are like this. These two people find each other. This girl's running away from home because she's want to do that. She does that fairly often, just going off of everybody's reactions to it. She meets this foreign man, I think he's British, and falls in love with him and moves and like lives with him for I think a week or two. It's either a week or two or a month. Falls deeply in love with him, and then basically he wants her to run away with him. So she goes to try and run away with him, like I think the next day or something, because he has to return to where he came from. And she thinks she was stood up. She might have been, she might not have been, we don't know yet. So she commits suicide, or she tries to commit suicide. It's left intentionally vague. So what the story is currently is that she is inside this house where that old flame of hers lived, and she is stuck to that house, and it's these children that find her, and it's about identifying who she is, who she was in love with, how to find him, and what to do. It's a very interesting, unique story. Definitely recommended, even if you are even if you're not a huge fan of shoujo series. Definitely take the stigma off of that if you are. But also, this is, if you're not a fan of romance shoujo, this is more of a, it has romance as an element. It's more of a mystery kind of, more of a mystery suspense with some romance in it. Very good read so far. Looking forward to finishing the series. I think it ends fairly quickly. Then we've got Magilumie Magical Girls Inc. Volume 3. We have a big fight this volume. Something catastrophic happens at the Magical Girl convention they go to, and we get some expansion on the character that looks like Deku with big round glasses. We get some more backstory for I almost said the main lead. He's the boss of the company, definitely not the main lead. Very good series. I want to check out the anime, I just haven't yet. Then we've got Mr. Villain's Day Off, Volume 5, and I think we're finally getting to the point where we're past where the anime ended off. Or we might actually be right at the point the anime ended off, with the, the tree spirits and the robot cat, as if that makes sense if you haven't watched the anime or read the manga. We do meet a new character in this volume that I don't think we saw in the anime yet, so it seems like we're starting to finally get past the stuff that was covered in the anime, because, I think the anime finished airing before we even got to that point in the manga. We didn't, for the manga, me reading it was basically just catching up to the anime, so I am very excited to read the stuff that wasn't already covered in the anime. Then we've got Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You, Volume 3. Was there much that happened in this volume? I do love this series. There was a miscommunication that happened in this volume. I don't know if anything really not intentional, really, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Substantial happened in this volume. The big thing is the miscommunication trope that happens, and him meeting another person, like another worker, and then, I don't really remember much else. I'm sure there's something else important that happened in this volume. But we kind of show that without his presence in her life, she is depressed, just like it would probably be for him. So we definitely get to see some more of the relationship develop that way. Then we've got Centaurs, Volume 2, starting with, I think this is the only Ablaze I got this month, or the only Ablaze I read this month. And unfortunately, I don't remember terribly much about this one either. I think we had a huge time skip. We had basically the Centaurs found safety, and we have a time skip where we're actually living through the events of, I think, their children. Or not the two Centaurs' children, but children relating to the Centaurs. And, I'm looking forward to seeing where the series goes, how things unwrap. I did hear that the first volume was machine translated, which is unfortunate. I have no idea if the second one is. I'd love to learn more if that was the case. But I don't want to say anything because I don't know for certain. Then we've got Tales of the Tendo Family 3. This is still just a great soap opera-y story. The setting reminds me a lot of My Happy Marriage, but Definitely with a lot more crazy people and a lot more fucked up family dynamics. I mean, I have to drop the F-bomb for how fucked up the family dynamics are in this series. Especially the twins that, yeah. Definitely read this series if you like soap operas. If you like shoujo soap operas especially, like, soap opera, well, if you like soap operas, I guess soap operas are pretty shoujo, just in the fact that they're marketed towards women and girls, like shoujo josei, but Boys of Biz is like a soap opera, and that's more shonen seinen. Not sure what I'm trying to get across here. Anyways, I also have one volume from Titan Manga, The Three Exorcism Siblings, Volume 2. I enjoyed the series. This series, it's not over yet. I enjoyed this volume. We actually have what seems to be the driving point for the plot moving forward with, trying not to spoil too much. We basically have something similar to what happens in Jujutsu Kaisen, with the main character being too much of a threat. So we have these people trying to get rid of him, and we're trying to figure out a way to save him, prevent that from happening to him. It's a good series. I don't know if I'd fully recommend it. I want to wait till I read the whole thing before I say so, because it's a bit of a mixed bag. Alright, we've got a few 7Cs with 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, Volume 11. We have... Wow, why do I not remember what happens in this volume at all? Right, we have basically the main character. I almost said Lilisa. That's the character she cosplays, but the main character losing motivation for her cosplay for her one character she's dedicated to, which is Lilisa. And then we have everybody actually wanting to work together to cosplay these characters from a mobile game that a couple of the club members are playing. I still love this series. It's a very well written series with a lot of cool designs, cute characters, fan service heavy, but it's cosplay, so that's not entirely unexpected. It is Ghost Ship too, so. Then we've got At 2500 in Akasaka, a story about, this is volume 1, so this is a story about a actor who is acting in a, I don't know if it's a soap opera or a normal show, but he basically has to play a role where he falls in love with another man. So what ends up happening is that he feels like he's developing feelings for this other actor that he's going to be acting with, who is a much more prolific actor than him. So he's basically trying to work with him to understand how male love works, like a MLM sort of thing, like gay stuff, whatever. And in doing so, it's kind of helping him understand his own feelings about his sexuality. It's a real good series so far. I've only on the first volume, so I can't say if it gets bad or good. We'll have to see. Then we've got 100 Girlfriends, Volume 11. Not too much to say about this. We've got 2 more girlfriends introduced in this volume. We have the Gyaru and we have the Chunibyo. It's a fun series. I don't want to spoil too much about it because it's just, all that happens in it is just crazy hijinks with all of the girls, and then just the snowball effect of all of the girls reacting to everything and seeing different scenarios with every single one of the girls. It's a great series if you like ecchi rom-com sort of things. Then we've got Black Knight Parade, Volume 4. Every single volume of this series, there's like some new plot revelation in there. I think in this one we actually have... Yeah, we have some interesting revelations about the role of the reindeers in Black Hat Santa's workshop. This is another series I think is great going in without much knowledge on it. Definitely recommend it if you're into, I would say, mystery, I don't really know how to categorize this series. It's not really a slice of life. It's kind of mystery, a little bit action-y, but I would definitely recommend most people to give it a shot. Then we've got Die Dark Volume 7. We have a big enemy felled in this volume, and we have a minor flashback explaining the origins of Zaha Senko, and then we kind of have the introduction of a greater threat that's coming about. I always love Die Dark because Q Hayashida has just a fantastic, gory, pretty art style, and the plot is just bonkers. Then we've got Dungeon People, Volume 4. We actually have a big thing happen in the plot in this volume, because we've been kind of waffling with just learning new things about the dungeon, which is cool, like learning how different parts of the dungeon are being manufactured, but we actually have progression for the main character in this volume, which is really cool. But yeah, it's... I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll keep reading it. It's alright. I'll say that. That's just my opinion, at least. Then we've got the final volume of J.K. Haru's A Sex Worker in Another World, which is Volume 7. This kind of ended on a anticlimactic point where it was just... and the story was over. No, like, real, concrete, solid ending to the characters' arcs. So, not a huge fan of that. I did like how this volume expanded on the... I don't think that was actually her, is it? No, yeah, the black bluish hair girl who was a nun. We expand on her wants, her ideals, and we get to learn more about her, which is really cool. It's still a really good series. I'd recommend it for sure, but just the ending kind of leaves something to be desired. Then we've got Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess, the short story collection, or 9.5. So I believe you're supposed to read this after the 9th volume of the manga. Not much to say about this. It's pretty much just a bunch of different scenarios and seeing all of the currently existing characters reacting to those scenarios. It's a good read if you like Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess. If not, why are you looking at something that says 9.5 on it? Yeah, it was alright. It was enjoyable. Then we've got The Do-Over Damsel Conquers the Dragon Emperor, Volume 4. I had a really hard time following what was going on in this volume, because they kind of start off at a later point in the story of this volume, and then kind of be like, oh, this is how we got here. But I couldn't really understand that at first, so I was flipping, thinking I missed something in the last volume. But yeah, we have an exile happening, and then they eventually try and get back to the castle, and then we have to figure out wait till the next volume to figure out exactly what happens from that. It's an okay series. The age gap is the only thing that I don't like about it, because it's a very odd age gap, and it doesn't feel like there's a real reason for it. But yeah, that's that one. Then we've got the final volume of Illustrated Guide to Monster Girls, Volume 4. I think I'm solidified with my feelings on this series. It's okay. That's really all I can say about it, is it's just an okay series. Apparently a lot of people really like it. I think I'm just the exception here. It just didn't really grab me as much as I wanted it to, because I like Monster Girl designs, I like Monster Boy designs, I like the unique integration of anthropomorphizing different creatures into humans. I mean, I'm a furry, so it kind of makes sense. But personally, I wasn't a fan of this series. I was fairly neutral on it. Definitely give it a shot, though, if you like Monster Girls, or if you just like cutesy, a little bit gory content. It's also not fan service heavy. I will note that, because I know that a lot of Monster Girl series tend to have fan service. And then we've got Maiden of the Needle Volume 4. Like Do-Over Damsel, this also has an age gap, but this one seems less focused on the relationship between the main character and the person who is older than her, more focused on her internal development, and it's a really good series. I would definitely recommend it if you can get past that age gap component. It's got an interesting power system involving sewing, involving the spirits that help her with sewing. In a way, it kind of reminds me of Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. Hopefully the manga lasts longer than Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, because, side note, very upset that the manga for Sugar Apple Fairy Tale doesn't adapt the whole light novel, because I really, really like that series, but I'm not reading a light novel. Definitely recommend checking this out, though. Then we've got Oshinoko Volume 7. This volume, we have the big performance on one of the performances of I think it's called 2.5D stage play of the manga that the main characters are acting in. Actually, no, it's just Aqua, not Ruby. Ruby is, I think, working on her idol stuff. I don't think Ruby's involved at all in this portion of the plot. Still a great series, though. I'm excited to see what happens next. I think the character writing is great. Then we've got some oversized volumes with the Eccentric Doctor of the Moonflower Kingdom, Volume 7. It's got some crazy stuff in this one. We finally get to the village with the illnesses, and we are working to figure out what exactly the illness is. Even, I think her name is Koyu. Even Koyu is kind of stumped at what exactly is going wrong. It seems like we have the solution in this volume, but it seems like the villagers are not wanting to hear it because of the influence of I don't think they're called herbalists. They're called something else. It's like the opposing faction of medicinal caretakers. Fantastic series, though. It's got good comedy to lighten up the more dramatic elements. Then we've got the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, Volume 7. Got some interesting... I think this one actually expanded on another backstory. I'd have to double check. Because we're continuing finding the corpse parts for the mysterious corpse that they found, I think, 3 volumes ago. But then we also have we have a short flashback expanding on one of the relationships, and also learning that these forehead ribbons are only supposed to be taken off by somebody that you're wanting to be intimate with. So there's some comedy with the forehead ribbons getting taken off without understanding the full connotations of that. It's good, though. I enjoy it. Then we've got Last Game, Volume 6. It seems like we're actually getting development, like full development happening in this volume. We'll have to see what happens in the next volume, if things continue from there, or if things just kind of stay at the same neutral pace. It's enjoyable. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I think the characters are cute, and they're written well enough to find it pretty enjoyable. Then we've got My Sister Took My Fiancé, and Now I'm Being Courted by a Beastly Prince, Volume 2 of the manga. We actually have like a huge plot wrap-up in this volume, and I think we're actually getting into the second volume of the light novel here. It wrapped up the plot so much that I thought that it was just kind of ending the series, so I was surprised to see that it's still ongoing. It definitely feels rushed, in my opinion. I do think this could have been adapted into a more drawn-out, longer telling of the light novel. I say drawn out kindly, not poorly drawn out. Expanded upon, I should say. That might be a better way to say that. But yeah. I really enjoy this series. I think it's got interesting characters and a cool premise. I'd recommend it if you're into not high fantasy, the Imperial... Not even Imperial Court. Why am I not talking properly? Like the villainous subgenre, whatever you would call that. If you're into that sort of subgenre, you would enjoy this. It's got a lot of similar elements to it. Then we've got Bocchi the Rock, Volume 4. We have auditions happening in this volume. We have some conflicts between the bands. A lot of gags and fun times. Bocchi always takes me so long to read because of everything that's packed into this short little volume. Then we've got A Business Proposal, Volume 6. We've got some jealousy drama happening in this volume between the secondary main couple, the ones featured here. Still a fun read. I'm still enjoying it. Cute characters, fun dynamics, all good. Then we've got Tied to You, Volume 2. Still staying weird and kind of messy. Yeah, it's... And we get some expansion on the severing ring connections, which is interesting to learn about. It's definitely still mixed on this series, personally. Then we've got Tokyo Babylon Volume 4. We've got some real hints at some antagonism that is kind of bubbling under the surface of one of the main characters. We've got the main male character, the Exorcist, making decisions that go against his morality, but kind of go against his code, but goes with his morality. We've got like a lot of interesting character depth and dynamics in this volume. It's a really great read so far. Last yen press we've got is for The Villainess Turns the Hourglass Volume 4. We've got the reveal of who Asher actually is. I don't know if it's actually Asher, but who Asher actually is. We have a reveal of, I think her name's Penelope, right? Penelope's the other one. Arya. No? Yes. Yes. We have Arya's grand reveal as the benefactor. She's coming out to the public as being the benefactor behind all of these like mysterious transactions that are really benefiting these companies. So we've got a lot of growth for her, a lot of societal people in society looking upon her favorably. We're continuing the climb of really redeeming herself as a true strong person who belongs in society. Then we've got My Love Story with Yamada-kun, Volume 2. We've got the awkward meetup with the young girls online. The young girl met online, and she's tricking the main character into meeting with them, and that leads to some terrible stuff. Nothing like actually abusive or painful happens, but the potential was there for things bad to happen. We definitely learned that I think he's a farmer. That the farmer is just the sweetest character in this series. He's a real friend. I think we actually get this volume starts off with the meetup where they all met in person. Yeah, because the last volume ended off with the meetup and her being surprised at who the rabbit girl was. So we get all the characters introduced, and we get that fun plot development happening. Great romance so far. Still a good series to read. Then we've got Go-Go Loser Ranger, Volume 11. Wild stuff happening in this volume. Just everybody's fighting somebody. And then we have seemingly a lot of crazy plot developments that I don't want to spoil. I don't know how much longer the series is going to go on for. But yeah, it was a lot that happened in this volume. Then we've got Kaina of the Great Snow Sea, Volume 2. We have them finally descending from the canopies to the Snow Sea again, and stuff happens when they get to the bottom of the canopy and reach the actual Snow Sea at the root of the tree. I don't want to spoil what happens. I mean, it's not a long series. It's not terrible. I maybe try reading it if you're mildly interested in it. The premise is interesting, but the art kind of is a bit lacking in my opinion. Then, I don't know how this happened, but we have Origin 5 and 6 by Boichi, and this is basically continuing and finishing the arc of invading the robotics factory, or robotics AI Institute? Yeah, the AI Institute that the main characters find themselves in through the story, and the huge fight and terrorism incident that happens. We're finishing that up in these volumes and starting off on a new foot with a new character being introduced. If I say who it is, it's going to spoil a lot of things. Yeah, great series. Then we've got Twilight Out of Focus, Long Take, Volume 1. We've got relationship issues happening with the main couple, like the first couple. I don't know if we're going to be finishing the series with just these two, or if we're going to continue working on the other relationships as well. If you like the anime, check out the manga 100%. I think the manga is drawn a lot more artistically and a lot more beautifully with the way the panels are laid out. I think it's a really pretty read, for sure. Then we've got the final volume of Welcome Back Alice, Volume 7. This took like 5-10 minutes to read. It's a very introspective, meaningful work with a lot of triggering elements to it. I think it's definitely worth reading, but some people are put off of Shuzo Oshimi's work, and I kind of understand why. He's definitely not for everybody. Then we've got Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, Volume 9. I think we start off the Walter Park arc in this volume. Then we have some stuff that happens at Walter Park near the end of this volume, but Iruma's enjoying an amusement park for the first time, so he gets to be happy for a bit. Then we've got Gazing at the Star Next Door, Volume 3. Unexpected developments in the main relationship in this volume. Really interested to see how it's going so far. If I say what happens, it'll kind of spoil a lot. It's a really good series. I would definitely recommend it for romance fans. Speaking of another thing I'd recommend for romance fans, Puppets That Attract Volume 1, a series about a very outgoing, not afraid to stand up to people girl, and a very reserved, shy Doberman, and a very shy, reserved man, and a very outgoing and happy Pomeranian. And it's a meet cute. They meet each other and start developing feelings. We get to see the dynamics of the opposites at bay here. It's a really fun romance, and if you like dogs, then that adds another element to it. We've got Quality Assurance in Another World, Volume 9. We've got a giant mecha battle in this volume, somehow. That happens. It was a lot. Yeah. I think we actually ended another arc in this volume as well with, a bit of a downer happening. Definitely don't want to spoil that, though. Then we've got Volume 26 of Rent a Girlfriend with a huge turning point in the series. And I think we're finishing up Hawaii, or the Hawaii Resort arc of this series. I'm really interested to see how things go from here. Figure out what's going to happen after the stuff that happens in that volume. Then we've got Turns Out My Online Friend Is My Real Life Boss, Volume 2. Unfortunately, most of this volume is the original, like, My Online Friend's My Real Life Boss series, but then the chunk at the end is a preview of, I think, Not That Wolf Is Not So Scary, The Yearning Fox Lies in Wait, which takes up a good portion of this series. There's a lot of silly miscommunication and misassumptions about people. It's a good BL workplace office romance, similar to Wotakoi in a way. Then we've got Wisteria, Wand and Sword, Volume 8. Now, big spoilers, if I talk about what happens in this volume, we basically have a lot more things happening in the lore, and we are introduced to a new area in the series. Very interested to see how things go from there. Then we've got Under the Oak Tree, Volume 1. This is the acclaimed manhwa by what is their name? P. Nami and Suji Kim, about a girl who grew up feeling terribly neglected by her family, ending up getting married to a seemingly aggressive knight. Not knight, he's not a knight. Is he a knight? Oh no, he is a knight, yeah. Seemingly aggressive knight, who ends up developing real feelings for her and helping her find validation in herself. Because she is going, I think this is actually reincarnation, not sure. No, I think it might actually just be fantasy. But yes, she finds out that he has true feelings for her, and it's a lot about helping her find happiness in herself and helping her find a role in learning and growing from the abuse she suffered in her childhood. I think it's a really good series. There's a lot of like steamy stuff with the main male character. Like there's like one scene where he's shirtless and he's got like the little gutters and whatever, and it's very nice. Anyways, lastly, we've got Vinland Saga Deluxe Volume 4. I don't know when the next one of these is coming out. And I think we actually do wrap up the Farmland arc. Do we wrap up Farmland in this volume? I do not remember exactly. But we've got a lot of things happening. A lot of characters meeting. Yeah, we've got a lot of intense things happening in this volume. I can't spoil much because it's Vinland Saga. I think it's definitely worth reading, and it's something that you need to go into without knowing a lot of the plot details to really get as much out of it as you can. But with that said, that is everything I read in September of 2024. I will talk to you guys next month for my haul and my reads of October of 2024. Happy Halloween and stay something. Catchphrase. Bye.